You know where they're going. They do it all for the shrimp.
What do the pyramids, the beach, a church, and a UFO hotspot all have in common? Why, a fast food restaurant, of course. Forget about your local BK, KFC, or McD's. These dining destinations are one in a million. So prepare to be awed by the top 15 fanciest fast food locations ever.
You have your own McDonald's?
Burger King in Helsinki, Finland.
In violation of several health codes.
Even though Finland is not technically a Scandinavian country, their culture mirrors many of those in the region. If you've ever been to this region of the world, you know that they take personal wellness and relaxation incredibly seriously. This is evident in the amount of spas and saunas per capita found in the region, which is higher than any other place in the world. Well, people have to eat in Finland as well, so it's only natural that a global chain like BK would have numerous locations in the country. Since 2013, they've been serving up their classic flame-broiled burgers in Finland and surrounding countries. In order to increase their corporate footprint and capitalize on a marketing venture, Burger King in Helsinki decided to open up one of the fanciest and most unique Burger Kings in the world. At this particular Burger King, if you have some time to spare, you can relax in their sauna, which comfortably seats around 15 people. What's a sauna doing in a Burger King, you ask?
Yeah, that sucks.
It's not that crazy when you realize that for every 3 people in the country, there's a sauna. With this 1-to-3 ratio in mind, Burger King thought it only natural to provide their customers with something that wasn't offered at any other fast food restaurant around. It's a place to relax, take care of business, or just chit-chat over your Whopper. While this experience is not going to be for everyone that walks through the doors, the sheer ingenuity of a storefront like this makes people take notice. If you're looking to eat your Burger King surrounded by steam and other half-naked people, then Burger King in Helsinki, Finland is your best and only destination.
To get thrown out of Burger King, that's low, isn't it?
McDonald's in Roswell, New Mexico.
Pretty good. Look at that. Not bad, Mark.
Roswell's the hub of many strange encounters. With a reported UFO crash and Area 51 only a short distance away, Roswell has become a hotbed for UFO and alien conspiracists alike. It's a region of the U.S. that has a very strange history, and McDonald's marketing department knew exactly how to take advantage of this. Tapping into the hearts and minds of everyone who tuned into the X-Files on a weekly basis, this brick-and-mortar storefront is actually built in the shape of a flying saucer.
Pretty impressive.
What?
It's an unmistakable sight that might make you roll your eyes at first, but when you see the attention to detail, you'll be nothing short of amazed. This McDonald's comes complete with flashing neon lights at night and a one-of-a-kind metallic shine during the day. It's clear that they swung for the fences when they were concocting this idea. While it may be a tad on the nose, it's drawn the attention of locals and out-of-towners alike. There are few McDonald's in the U.S. or even the world that emphasizes a theme like the one you'll find in New Mexico. In a world of cookie-cutter storefronts and tired, run-of-the-mill locations, we have to tip our hat to McDonald's for making a unique dining experience that you'll have to see to believe. And really, who doesn't want to believe?
Agent Mulder, I'm Dana Scully.
Barnacle Bill, Port Pirie.
At Barnacle Bill's, we've gone overboard.
This next entry is a wacky and unique location found in the land down under. Barnacle Bill is an Australian chain that specializes in seafood and has been slinging deep-fried fish for years. They're a fairly popular fish and chip shop that was looking to shake up their identity by moving into a location that had people scratching their heads. In the mid-90s, Kevin and Kim Spiro, the founders of Barnacle Bill, bought a famous church in Port Pirie, Australia.
Biscuits and waffles.
The church had been in the area since 1879, making it one of the oldest and most historic buildings in the region. What were the plans for this elegant and timeless building? Well, to turn it into a chip shop, of course. While many people initially scoffed at the idea of a religious institution becoming a fast food joint, they were surprised to find out that without the intervention from the Spiros, the building would have been torn down completely. Even though the church is much different than it was when first built all those years ago, patrons will be pleased to note that much of the structural integrity remains intact. The pulpit has been turned into a deep fat fryer bay, and customers can even sit down in one of the original pews to enjoy their meal. It may seem like blasphemy to the uninitiated, but knowing that a restaurant chain saved this famous building from becoming just another vacant lot means fish lovers will be saluting their actions while covering that deep-fried cod in tartar sauce.
We are nourished by the love of the Lord.
Arby's in Colonial Heights, Virginia.
Is anyone else starving?
Yeah, do you know a good place?
Arby's is a bit of a divisive brand. Some consumers live and die by their trademark roast beef sandwiches, while others turn their nose up at the higher-than-average price point. Whatever your thoughts on the chain, you have to admire this next location for what it is. In Colonial Heights, Virginia, there exists an Arby's that puts all others to shame. Right off of Interstate 95, this Arby's boasts one key feature that brings people from all over the country. It just so happens to be the biggest Arby's ever created, and once you visit, you'll see that they spared no expense. The structure where this Arby's is located might look like a government building upon first glance. That is, until you see the gigantic Arby's logo hovering over the richly landscaped grounds.
We've all eaten at Arby's.
There's no shortage of outdoor seating, and even on those chilly nights, you can cozy up to one of the fireplaces that are constantly burning. Looking for something outside the box? Well, the sheer size of this operation means that they're able to offer unique dining options, like salads and off-menu sandwiches. Say what you want about Arby's, but they went all out with this one. If you're on the fence, we don't know if visiting the largest store in the country will sway your view, but wouldn't it be cool to say that you've been there, even if it is just for bragging rights?
Arby's, we have the meat.
Wendy's in Tbilisi, Georgia.
Hey, where's the beef?
When this next location opened up, it had the privilege of being the largest Wendy's in the world, let alone the country. Keep in mind, when we say Georgia, we're talking Eastern Europe. This is a market that's been notoriously hard for many Western companies to break into. This is due to a variety of reasons, but most notably, companies like Wendy's don't have the largest footprint in the area. So when they decide to make waves in a market, they want to really make waves. This store boasts over 15,000 square feet and spans 3 floors. What amenities can you expect from a massive Wendy's?
Rick, you were right. Whoa! Did you turn yourself into a Wendy's Frosty Chino?
The restaurant comes complete with a catering hall for those large corporate and social settings, a place for games and activities, and a Wendy's cafe, which is famous for serving all types of coffee that you can't get from a domestic Wendy's. If this grand entrance into the market is any indicator, we would expect to start seeing new and inventive ways for brands to establish a foothold. This part of the world sees a large amount of commerce and travel, so if you're looking for an escape from the mundane, then you need look no further than this one-of-a-kind Wendy's in Georgia.
On another level.
Before we get to more fancy fast food locales, if it's your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much. The largest Dairy Queen in the world.
I'd like to try the peanut butter chocolate swirl, please.
Where's one of the last places you would expect to find ice cream? On the moon? In a secret underground bunker? In the desert? Well, it just so happens that the Saudi Arabian city of Riyadh has taken it upon themselves to deliver ice cream to their population. Even though the familiar chain is out of their element in this warm climate, this particular location has the bragging rights of being the largest brick-and-mortar Dairy Queen in the world. It was constructed in 2011, and it commands over 7,500 square feet of space. This 2-story venue can comfortably accommodate nearly 250 people, and it's been known to fill itself to the rafters on busy days.
Yes, and I'd like to try it again.
But what good is all that space if you're not able to fill the seats, you might be asking? You're totally correct in being skeptical, but this location just so happens to be a grill and chill, which means they're serving everything from ice cream to burgers and fries, and all the regular Dairy Queen classics. If you're wondering if they still serve blizzards upside down in the desert, I guess you'll just have to go and see for yourself.
I will show you the ways of the desert.
Chipotle in downtown Boston.
If you're like other Americans, you love to eat Chipotle.
Some of the oldest and most classical architecture in the country can be found in Boston, and as a result, governing bodies have worked very hard to preserve the antiquity of the city. With that being said, for any history buffs, this next one's going to sting. The Old Corner Bookstore, as it is most commonly known, was built in 1718 as an apothecary shop and residence. It wasn't until 1828 that the building was turned into the bookstore that gained worldwide and national acclaim.
I love Chipotle, but getting all the bloodstains out of my underwear is a nightmare.
A nearly 300-year-old building, and what did it become? A Chipotle. We can hear your sighs, but it's not all bad. While it's nice to think that a famous building is still being kept around, even as something entirely different, we couldn't help but scratch our heads at this one. Surely a historic society or some other educational entity would want to get their hands on the Old Corner Bookstore for the sheer cultural significance that it holds for the city. But that's not the case. The Chipotle brand purchased the location back around 2013, and they've been slinging burritos from behind that brick facade ever since. While it may seem like a bit of a tragedy, many are just glad that the building didn't get demolished. To the company's credit, they attempted to keep as much of the old structure intact as possible, and don't plan on rebuilding anytime soon. Although you'd have to be a fool to destroy a Boston institution like that. Here's hoping that the Old Corner Bookstore can stand the test of time and last another 300 years. At the end of the day, we don't really care who's holed up in there, and we do love a good burrito.
Chipotle.
Starbucks, Ninenzaka, Yasaka, Chaya.
So there's a Starbucks near my house?
For over a millennia, the people and culture of Japan was a bit of a mystery. Before making contact with Western nations, little was known about their way of life. But now, in our current day and age, the rest of the world cannot get enough of the cultural exports coming from Japan. This goes both ways, and even though this is a notoriously traditional country, they also have imported certain cultural phenomena from the rest of the world.
Who you calling the ninjas?
Starbucks is a household name pretty much everywhere across the world, and locations in Japan are nothing new. But when Starbucks decided they were going to purchase a family residence and turn it into a new storefront, people were skeptical. The culture of Japan is often closely protected, and it seems rather strange that a residential district would allow a Starbucks to move right in. Well, this location in Kyoto, Japan is quickly becoming a hotspot for locals and tourists alike, as the Starbucks Corporation has transformed it into a working outlet without sacrificing the historic aesthetic of the classic Japanese home. Much of the architecture is still original, and they've opted not to modernize it in keeping with the neighborhood's quaint style. Say what you would like about this move by the company, this Starbucks is unlike any other and worthy of any coffee lover's bucket list.
And I had to stop for coffee?
Taco Bell, Pacifica, California.
Taco Bell, anyone?
Yes. We're used to seeing our favorite fast food restaurants located in familiar spots. Downtown streets, shopping outlets, food courts, and interstate exits are all extremely common places for a fast food location. But what about at the beach? This next location certainly takes the cake for being a surfer's best friend. Taco Bell in Pacifica, California does not look like your average Taco Bell. With its wood siding and beach vista, you would swear that you're walking into a marina shop as opposed to a taco joint. Located right along the coast, in between all the famous lookouts and views, lays this Taco Bell on the beach.
I'll see you on the beach.
The building itself was built in the 1960s, and once you step inside, you'll be transported to California's golden age. If you have any doubt that this Taco Bell knows how to cater to its locals, take note of the surfboard parking area. This company sure knows how to do its market research. As of 2019, this location has been transformed into a Taco Bell cantina, which means that it serves alcoholic beverages and caters to a market all its own. It may seem like something out of a Hollywood movie, but we promise this place actually exists. If you're in the mood to try a boozy Baja Blast or just worked up an appetite while you were shredding, this Taco Bell is certainly one of the fanciest on the list.
Looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Kat.
Pizza Hut at the Great Pyramids.
You just took me on a trip!
The pyramids are one of the great wonders of the world, and this next location will let you sit in quiet contemplation as you gaze upon these strange geometric shapes. In Giza, there rests a Pizza Hut. However, this Pizza Hut is unlike no other, for a few reasons. Not only is it conjoined with a KFC, creating a matrimony that fast food lovers could only dream about, it just so happens to have a dining space that has a perfect view of the famous pyramids.
Careful, Marge. That's how I bankrupted a Pizza Hut.
From the second-story balcony, you can look out at one of the craziest architectural marvels the world has ever seen while enjoying a hot slice of pie. This location's been a travel hotspot for many years, not just for the meme of getting a pizza while looking upon the pyramids, but because Giza, and this Pizza Hut in particular, is not going to gouge you on price just for the privilege. It's well known that a trip to the base of the pyramids can be pricey. For those looking to save a buck on your vacation, you could do much worse than this lookout. KFC in Minsk, Belarus.
We move over 16 tons of chicken every month.
If you like to have a chuckle over sweet, sweet irony, look no further than our next location, which can be found in Minsk, Belarus. This location just so happens to be a retail outlet for the Colonel himself. It's well known that Kentucky Fried Chicken has done very well overseas, so it seemed only natural that they'd try and extend themselves into Eastern European markets. The fact that you can find a Western company in Europe isn't the strange part. What's strange is the eerie sense of seeing a communist landmark over a capitalist storefront. We've seen irony, but this is taking it to new levels. To be fair, the mural made of sculpted metal is a sight to behold and harkens back to a very different time in the country's history.
I must break you.
All things considered, it is strange to see the Colonel's smiling face amidst all the commotion. Kentucky Fried Chicken will undoubtedly continue to expand in the future. We just hope their scouts are on the lookout for more spots like this one in Minsk. That's not to say this particular storefront isn't fancy. It's a massive operation worthy of the workers that loom over it. If you're traveling through Europe with a distinct taste for U.S. cuisine, then this location should go on the itinerary. It's truly one of a kind.
I love your chicken. I love you.
Chick-fil-A in New York's financial district.
New York City.
New York's Wall Street and the surrounding area has become a bustling hub of finance for the city and the nation. If New York City is the city that never sleeps, then Wall Street is the one supplying the caffeine pills, because this place is nothing short of a beehive of activity. Millions of people patrol the avenues surrounding Wall Street on any given month, and where there are people, there are food vendors. Finance people in the area are notorious for having very little time during their lunch break, so many opt to grab a hot dog from the local cart on the street corner.
I want all the hot dogs, please.
Chick-fil-A has become entrenched in the culinary atmosphere of the U.S., and as a result, they chose to open up shop in the monetary mecca of the Big Apple. This Chick-fil-A is found at one of the busiest intersections in all of the city. Located in downtown Manhattan next to St. Paul's Cathedral, this location has been serving up all the familiar favorites that customers would expect from a Chick-fil-A. They're responsible for a ridiculous amount of daily business, and it's not uncommon to see people standing in any available space to chow down their food before setting out into the wide world. Chick-fil-A operates on a rigorous standard of quality control, so there's nothing unique about the menu, but a location right in the middle of downtown commands a certain amount of respect, and we're here to give it to them.
This taste is delicious as Beyonce smells.
Subway at True Bethel Baptist.
Cold cut combo. I eat 3 every day to help keep me strong.
Our next entry is a straight-up feel-good story from the state of New York. Subway's been an inspiration for fast food since they first broke onto the scene. They showed the world that fast food doesn't necessarily need to be unhealthy, and good-tasting meals aren't always deep-fried. It's true that Subway's changed the culinary landscape for the better, but could you ever imagine Subway giving directly back to its community? This particular store in Buffalo, New York was opened by Reverend Darius Pridgeon, who decided that instead of opening a restaurant in its own location, that they would build a Subway outlet right into the church itself.
There's a delicious Subway food montage going on right behind me, isn't there?
This particular restaurant even landed itself on an episode of Undercover Boss, which found the store to be in almost immaculate condition, no pun intended. This makes perfect sense when the Reverend's major goal in opening the restaurant was to provide the community with job training and give those that were hungry a meal. The church itself is the True Bethel Baptist in Buffalo, New York. If you're ever in need of a meal and a little fellowship, you'll feel right at home as you eat fresh among the congregation.
It is a gift.
Burger King's Mahogany Room.
So spicy and crispy and juicy.
The next entry on our list is sure to be a proper experience for those descended from fast food royalty. Cardiff is the capital city of Wales, which is part of the United Kingdom. In this bustling city, there is a Burger King. This particular Burger King is unlike any other. Here's a little background. Just because a company moves into a piece of real estate does not necessarily mean they own the public's opinion about that location. It turns out that the building that this Burger King moved into was also the home to an exclusive club called the Mahogany Room, which had been in operation since the 19th century. This was a little-known gathering place for captains of industry, politicians, and influential people of the times, who would host meetings at the venue.
We do not give up our secrets lightly.
It's said that the Mahogany Room itself has not changed much and gets its name from the wood paneling that surrounds the room. It comes complete with an ornate fireplace and stained glass window that will transport you back in history. While the Mahogany Room may be off limits to the general public, we're guessing that you might lay eyes on it yourself if you pull the right strings. It's not likely that you'll run into King Charles in the back rooms of this Burger King, but knowing that at one point in time some of the most influential people in the UK converged under this roof brings a knowing smile to many faces.
You know that you can get a refill on any drink you want here.
McDonald's Imperial.
Hey, can I get a...
We like to save the best for last, and this next location is nothing short of the fanciest fast food restaurant in the world. Porto is a town in the country of Portugal. For many years, a coffee shop existed in the community. Housed in some of the most magnificent architecture of the 20th century, this coffee shop became well known as a fixture in the town. Above their doors hung the insignia of an eagle, an important note that we'll return to later. Until 1995, this renowned building was a local institution that saw locals and tourists alike. Whether they came to marvel at the architecture or enjoy a cup of coffee, everyone had a reason to appreciate the Imperial. However, in the mid-90s, the previous owners of the Imperial decided that it was time to move on and looked to sell the building. You could guess who was waiting in the wings to buy the place. It was none other than Ronald McDonald himself, who saw this as a natural extension of overseas business.
Welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order?
It was made official and the famous clown moved in. Ever since then, Ronald's been serving customers over the counter of the Imperial. While it would be easy for a multi-billion-dollar corporation to come in with the jackhammers and reduce the building to a design that better fits their business model, McD's chose to keep the natural aesthetic that the locals know and respect, cementing their place in the community. It's up for some debate if all the original materials are accounted for, but most visitors to the Imperial McDonald's will say that great care has been taken to preserve the natural beauty of the building. Chandeliers still hang where they did 100 years ago, and the stained glass likewise stands the test of time. While it may seem like a strange juxtaposition, there's no greater fast food destination than the McDonald's at the Imperial. Oh, and remember that eagle that we mentioned earlier? It still hangs above the door as a constant reminder of the building's past.
Remember us.
We've got more great videos, so stay right here and just tap or click on one more.